Let's explore Vajrasattva's spaciousness composed by Gaurab Dorje, also known in Sanskrit as Prahe Vajra. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you are looking for. This morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two, but first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Yoda on Dagobah under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Now remember, if at any point during this live stream, any point at all, you have a question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or about how to specifically apply them to your life, there is no need to be bashful. Strike while the iron's hot, and type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Every day, I live stream 4 meditation classes without any ads, health permitting. If you find value in my explanations and techniques and group practice, and if you enjoy my enthusiasm to answer the questions that are posed to me in the chat window, then allow me to remind you that with your assistance, this channel could help support the next generation of nuns, monks, yogis, lamas, and even brick-and-mortar meditation centers, each replete with a resident teacher and their apprentice. The reason this is a big deal is that in the Tibetan tradition, monks and yogis are on their own. They have to pay to stay in a monastery, and those who can't afford are homeless, which sucks. And let's face it, it's as someone who's differently disabled, the specter of homelessness is a horrible burden. So I don't want other people to endure that on this path. So that's one of the reasons I've set up the Patreon. Now, if you'd like to help out, even for as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month, simply use your smartphone's camera to capture this QR code. Unless you're old school, then you can simply click one of the donation links in the description area below the video. Have you liked my cheerleading? So here's, spoiler alert. What we're going to do is chant, and then I'll occasionally interrupt the chant to give an explanation. So we're going to begin with the overture. Now what I like to do is with my left hand, make a fist around my thumb, with my right hand make a fist around my left and hold it in front of my diaphragm. For me, that helps me to manage my energies better. Listen, O virtuous one, I will show you the truth of your being. You are and always have been like Vajrasattva, an archetype of enlightenment, the infinite consciousness, living presence, and creative power of the divine. We're using divine metaphorically. You know, when someone describes, receiving their favorite sexual favor or eating their favorite dessert, they might say, oh, it was divine. That's a reference to bliss and rapture and stuff like that. The vast spaciousness of being always good, the way of liberation for all beings, beyond appearance and disappearance and beyond the grasp of the intellect. So because of the phrase always good or all good, I'm going to put a piece of art right here. At least that's my intention. Let's see how that works out. Let's hit insert and pictures. And let's see here. Let's go to pictures and Buddhist yoga. And let's find Kuntu Zangpo, which sounds filthy, but it's not. And we're going to form And our scrolling. And now we are resizing because this is ginormous. But this is the all good one, mother and father. Okay. The vast spaciousness of being always good, the way of liberation for all beings. Beyond appearance and disappearance and beyond the grasp of intellect. I've heard this described as when you're spiritual, but still a freak. Now we turn to the ubiquitousnness of love. And ubiquitous is a word I learned from listening to Jon Stewart. Love being you. Okay, this I have to do a quick edit. Insert. Love being all essence attainment is already complete, and there is no need to strive at practicing great compassion. Love being the supreme good, there is no need either to extol the many splendid qualities of compassion. No input necessary. Phenomena are not other than the true condition. Without input on our part, they appear and disappear. So, what's going on here? We're talking about blinking fairy lights or Christmas lights. Here's what happens. Generally, as we go through life, things enter our sphere of perception and they leave it. Doesn't mean they're dead. This means they're not in our sphere of perception. Things, and then in a larger sense, things are created and things, beings, and phenomena do die. But wait, there's a deeper aspect. And this goes into the effortless meditation that is the theme of this. All vertebrate life form on this planet, I'm not an expert in exoskeleton creatures, but all vertebrate life form on this planet evolved a central nervous system. The root of that central nervous system is our autonomic nervous system, and it divides into a sympathetic and a parasympathetic half. So every time we breathe in, whether we know it or not, we inadvertently plug into our sympathetic nervous system, which is evolved to perceive. How? You mean concentrate? No, not concentration. Concentration is this rigid thing. We evolved to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly. In a very, very messy sense. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we plug into our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved differently. It has evolved the opposite of our sympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release. With every time we breathe in, things appear to us. And every time we breathe out, they feel less real, less graspable, less eternal. Let's continue. Naturally, your rising wisdom not be actively sought. Self-liberating by nature, it reveals the way. Earth, air, fire, and water are the indwelling divine. Despite our... Now we turn to the folly of authoritarianism. Despite our mistaken notions, liberation dawns from within our own being, and it is not dependent on others. So if someone wants to be your guru and they want to charge you all these fees and make you be their slave and bow to them, they can kiss my ass. Supreme wisdom is difficult to realize except by the way of the wisdom of letting go itself. Dependence on others is merely notional, since bliss actually arises naturally from within, and yet the miraculous is not beyond our recognition. Due to intuitive insight into the natural state, our innate capacities and spiritual powers come to the fore naturally from within our own inner depths. So, by the way, the chant this is how it works. Whether we're working with a couplet of 2 lines or a triplet of 3 lines, we always emphasize everything's a monotone except for 2 syllables. The first syllables and the second to the last syllable. At first it seems weird. After a while it seems like old hat. Real meditation is effortless letting go in the true condition. Oopsie. This true condition never appears to us as something which can be seen. Doop, 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 and doop. And one more. There we go. This true condition never appears to us as something which can be seen. Striving to grasp it, we prevent the recognition of its true nature. Real meditation. Nor can the supreme secrecy of the primal continuum be revealed by hearing about it. Nor can words reveal its nature even in the barest measure. So secrecy does not mean, shh, it's a secret, go tell the CIA. No, secrecy just means it's not apparently obvious. Kind of like your intestines. Hopefully you've never seen your intestines. If you've seen your intestines, that's some trauma. But so, our intestines are secret simply because we haven't seen them. We might hear them, but we haven't seen them, and that's a good thing. So similarly, there's nothing spooky about this, nor can words reveal its nature. Yeah, it's like trying to describe the taste of an orange. How do you do that? Sweet and juicy? That's really, then what's the difference between an orange and a pineapple? Or a papaya, or a mango. See, sweet and juicy really doesn't do it. Let's continue. The suffering of sentient beings is only consciousness, intrinsically perfect energy in varied forms. Now this is some wild shit. Okay, so whatever we experience, whether it is a sight, a sound, a scent, a flavor, a sensation, whatever we experience, whether it is an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, an imagining, can feel as it processes our sense organs and our body, can feel like an energy, can feel like it has momentum and weight and velocity. And then it gets weird, because if everything can be described that way, then both pleasure and pain can be described that way. Or even, wait, there's even more. Well, but I'll wait a while. So let's continue. And by the way, this is nothing that has to be believed. Belief is a trap. It's an act of rigidity. This is something that can be experienced, however. just by going through life. Beyond movement, unshaken, it up as equally in all. People talk of karma and truth, there is only consciousness beyond all our notions. For instance, if you saw a piece of food you never saw before, you wouldn't know what to call it. You would only have to use the pronoun like this. Beyond movement, unshaken, it up as equally... Oh, I already did this. It up as equally in all. People don't come karma in truth, there is only consciousness beyond our notions. For those imprisoned in the ups and downs of thought and emotion, the pristine continuum of awareness remains hidden. The mind of awakening is rise through all appearances. Being unborn, it is indestructible. This timeless space of pure being is beyond the reach of thought. So, there's a big difference between perception and commentary upon that perception. The deepest meditative tranquility does not think of itself as this or that. There is no need to conceptualize or purify the mind of concepts. Although wisdom... There is no need to conceptualize or purify the mind of concepts, although wisdom may, as it comes to the fore, take the form of concepts. So we don't have to get rid of an emotion or a sensation or anything. We can accept vulnerably the present moment, whether it is glorious or grotesque. Some meditators try to embed the minds into a thought-free state, mistakenly thinking this gives them access to something subtle. And now we are exploring the irony of our controlling tendencies. They isolate themselves in lonely places. Examine closely, this folly is seen to be a form of conceptual meditation. Thinking in terms of causes and reasons, such seekers strive in vain to transcend this world. They reject the bad and accept the good. Although non-dual wisdom already transcends dualities like bad and good. Clinging and indifference are concepts so to echo like is anything in between. Joy and sorrow arise from the same source, so declares yourself a refuge of all. So this is a compound sentence, so let's explain this. What it's saying is, everything is as non-graspable as an echo. From one extreme to the other extreme, and all points in between. Where else could aversion Where else could aversion, attachment, and anger arise, except from the luminous energy of the mind? Objects of pleasure are also just this, formulations of the energy of the light of wisdom. Concepts are like space, but neither space nor concepts ever come into true existence. So, ideas, and ideas about ideas, are as non-graspable as a vast empty void. So, anything that is non-graspable is thought of as not being true. So we do not play with these ideas to find out what's true. Something not being true is just a metaphor for something being non-graspable. Remember, whatever we notice during our in-breath can be released during the out-breath as we relax. Abiding in spacious consciousness beyond desire, and directed intent at one's condition widens to infinity. So there are times we can feel really, really compressed and beaten down on, and that sucks. Other times we feel vast and expansive. What are some of the things that compress us? The tyranny of our desires and the tyranny of our goals. Not the presence of them, but the tyranny of them can beat us up. Concentrate equanimity is a ground of being, but like the moon reflected in water, it cannot be grasped. So what is equanimity? Balance. Balance between extremes. So in other words, not being full of dread, not being full of desire, not shoving, not reaching. Let us explore the folly of mantra meditation. Through the divine creative energy, the vibratory sounds of speech will manifest in the mantric sounds of ahanta and pop and their many elaborations express the creative power of infinite consciousness and figure forth the mind of light. Yet how amazing that the enlightened realm is never found by seeking, and can never be perceived by the six senses. So, yes, mantric sounds can do these things, but so what? Those who seek it in this way are like blind ones grasping for the sky. Well, that's harsh. We now explore the folly of the gradual path. Because most teachers are control freaks, and they're rigid, and they're domineering, and they're fearful. And they're into petty one-upsmanship. And they're, oh, you want to know Tantra? Well, first you have to jump through these hoops, just like a tiger in the circus. And many, 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 many hundreds of years ago, the Gaurab Dorje said, malarkey. A graduated spiritual path for purification is at odds with the effortlessness of the true condition. Realization does not come from following such a path. That is like searching for the end of space, the true condition of being what it is. Revealed as it is, cannot be seen as a path to travel. The state of effortless enlightenment is the source of all. Its manifestations are all marvelous wonders. So we're traversing the path of effortless enlightenment, or what I like to call the lazy bastard path of meditation. Broad and present abide within the true condition. The eternal now of consciousness is the path for all. This is such as the light. Take two. This is such as the light of wisdom, the realization of enlightened beings both past and yet to come. So what do we mean by suchness? Emptiness, the wisdom of emptiness. Now, what do we mean here by the light of wisdom? We're practicing the wisdom of letting go as if, whatever we noticed during the previous in-breath, was as non-graspable as a beam of light. This living presence is a universal way. The moon and its reflection on water are not. Take two. The moon and its reflection on water are non-dual. This is the second reference to the moon on water. The mind of awakening is not to be found by those who grasp and fabricated features and stages of the way. You can either be enlightened or you can jump through hoops. You can't do both because they are mutually exclusive. Focusing attention on present pleasures and the limit in the future consequences is a limiting way to follow any path. It is something to avoid. Past, present, and future are one, not three. Only the present has entered throughout time. Wherever you are, it's always here. Whenever you are, it's always now. The nature of reality pervades the whole of creation. Its wonderful qualities everywhere to be found. Everything that appears in all the worlds derives from karma, is rooted in concepts, and is phantasmal in nature. Even the situation of a universal emperor is merely a training ground for dealing with illusion. That's right, even real or imagined gods and goddesses. Let us continue exploring the folly of pseudo-intellectual contemplation. Those who meditate using time-bound intellect will never be liberated within the time frame of their imagining. The folly of prayer. For those whose practice is rooted in present striving, everything said about emptiness fully applies to that folly. The essence is one and structured and born, and is the way of the yogi is like the path of Abhathu in the sky. How can we suppose that phenomena actually exist? Now, you cannot believe your way to nirvana. You cannot disbelieve your way to nirvana. But you can notice and release enlightenment in an enlightening manner. Inner and outer phenomena are both the real Take two. Inner and outer phenomena are both the one real condition, which is not an object to be grasped by the conceptual mind. So no one in the right mind is saying that there is no world outside the brain. And no one in the right mind is saying there are no thoughts or feelings. All we're saying is, although they are sensual, they can still be experienced as non-graspable. Now, there is no great deep metaphysical truth that needs to be believed. But if we experience perception as we breathe in, and great vulnerability, and we experience release as we breathe out, and great relaxation, that is the Buddha's path. Let's continue. And by the way, if at any point you have a question about what we're chanting, or about the Buddhist philosophy, or about the Buddhist technique, or how to apply them, type that question in great detail in the chat window. Let's continue. All the things of this world are mere names based on mistaken concepts, and so it is we fail to experience the quality of decontemplation. The outer and inner spiritual commitments that we take up pertain to the constituents and senses of the body-mind, which has never been other than the true condition. Let us explore the folly of vows. There is therefore no benefit in talking about spiritual commitments. Appearances, symbols of the all good, never change into something other than presence. Never being other than presence, appearances are therefore the basis of the wisdom of letting go. In the absence of grasping, nothing has a self-identity. Absent rejecting, there is only the equality that transcends speech. We began this chanting by exploring the innate nature of empathy, the product of the hub of our mirror neurons. Therefore, the essence of the hundreds and hundreds of vows is simply nonviolence. All possible circumstances and all beings in them, most rise non-dually from the pristine continuum. Let's explore the folly of duality. In the purity of divine presence, there are no such distinctions as male or female. Let us revisit the folly of mantra. In the domain of reality, there is no talk, or getting somewhere by means of effort. And yet some say that by using the powers of sound, one can generate the bliss of a magical illusion. The true condition cannot be grasped conceptually, but appears in various ways according to how one views it. To serve for bliss as hiring it to manifest only generates obscurity and confusion. Now, I'm getting pooped right now because I'm otherly abled. So what I'm going to do is skip ahead to the actual meditation. I hope you understand. As we inhale, we can practice the mindfulness that watches the play of mind as silently and mentally we recite, noticing. With each exhalation, let us practice the mindfulness that relaxes into mind's non-graspable nature, as silently and mentally we recite, relaxing. Let's sit up during each inhalation. Let us breathe from our diaphragm as we sit up nice and tall, as if we wanted to make our grandma proud. If you feel I have earned it, type something in the chat window, give this live stream a thumbs up, and share it on social media. In approximately 3 1/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead this afternoon's meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy, and if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.